I think I'm having an existential crisis.
Again? Why do you say that?
Again. Well, because now I feel directionless.
Oh, I see why. Yep.
Right. So the very first episode of our podcast, we talked about Robert Pattinson being cast as Batman.
Right. Yes.
And it felt like all of our podcast was this big build-up to when that movie dropped.
Yep.
And we could finally put the nail in the coffin. We could talk about whether or not it met the expectations, or if everyone was right in thinking like, "Hey, he's a Twilight boy," right? So, and then that happened, and we were like, "Okay, well, we need a new direction." And I feel like for a little bit of time, it was No Time to Die. We've only because we watched all the movies leading up to it. And listen, we've done that with other franchises, but something about watching 27, 28, 29, 30 films to get to that point made it a little more of a significant task.
It was a journey.
And then some time ago, like 6 months maybe plus ago, we sort of determined like, okay, well, what are we building towards? What is our next milestone? And we have made a hobby out of shit talking Avatar. And so it just kind of naturally, and we knew like after 14 years, Avatar 2 is finally coming. And not just like, oh yeah, it's 14 years, they're finally going to get around to making one. It was like, no. After 14 years of making one, Avatar 2 is coming.
Which is a side note. Like, I think like that distinction that you just made is very key, because I heard this when I was listening to someone reviewing Avatar 2 as well. It's not like, hey, insert blank movie where we've got 3 weeks to shoot, or hey, we've got 2 months for post-production, or hey, we've got like this small window. It's like, no, for like 14 years, James Cameron woke up, made his coffee, and then was like, went
to the world of Pandora.
Right. It's like, which so foreign.
Is a little bit of hyperbole, because he did like, it wasn't like the second they released. Like there was like 3 years or something where he was like traveling to Mars or going to the bottom of the ocean or
but still,
whatever James Cameron does. But still, it's been because, and part of that is like, it hasn't just been, it's not like now that Avatar 2 is out, they're beginning to work on Avatar 3. Right? Like a lot of Avatar 3 was shot 8 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And we'll get into why that is, because something recently has come out that kind of makes it sort of interesting. But now, so anyways, all of that is to say that now that Avatar 2 is here like a month and a half ago, and we're finally getting around to reviewing it, which is equally both of our faults.
For sure.
I don't know what we're working towards. And before I can even say what I say that kicks off the show, I need us to figure this out. Part of me is like a movie that I'm really looking forward to is The Flash, because of the return of Michael Keaton. But it's not something like that holds way more weight to me than it does to you.
Sure.
And it's only like 3 months away. So So that's not my hypothesis. What I would like to propose is that it's probably Dune 2.
Probably.
Because we like there wasn't enough kitty litter in the world to deal with what our initial appraisal of Dune 1 was. Much to the heartbreak of Marshall.
To be clear, to set the priority straight, let's just intro the show
for those.
Intro the show.
No,
we have to just so people know what they're listening to.
Hello and welcome.
Have to. Welcome to the Movie Men podcast. I am Peter. The forced upon this is Brady.
I'm
to
here.
Be clear,
I blink just so the audience at home knows. I'm blinking twice. I'm blinking twice to indicate that I'm being held against my wishes. Yeah.
I will, to clarify, everything you said was correct. I just want to like refine it a little bit. I do feel bad for Marshall because I feel like his heart was broken in so many ways that day. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was a great movie for me, but I definitely didn't hate it as much as you did.
I need to rewatch it. I have not seen it a second time.
And I did. Eventually,
you watched it a second time and you were like, yeah, visually, you watched it a second time and you were like, it's not bad.
Yeah, like it's not great. I'm still not amazed by it, but it wasn't as bad as the first time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just scrolling through lists. Like, so we're working towards Scream 6. That's a thing. We're working towards. Is it worth saying Mission Impossible is our next?
Oh, well, see, that was going to be my answer. Like, I get it. Dune, yes, is what we're working towards. So I think that is maybe the answer. But I feel like Mission Impossible is the answer for me because it's fun because it's such a serial, like it's a chain. There's so many of them. And it's fun because at least for me, since Top Gun 2, I've had this Tom Cruise awakening. So I've gone on board the hype train of like going to a Hollywood blockbuster in a theater and seeing Tom Cruise.
Right.
And I'm excited for
June. It's like a 5-month outing.
Well, and the reason I think it's a good answer is because I'm excited for the episode that's coming out this year. But then whether we love or hate it, then there's an additional one coming out next year that we have to kind of pine over and speculate and think about. So I think that might be the reason for me Mission Impossible is the answer.
Can I propose an interim goal?
There's so many goals.
Agreeing that it's Mission Impossible, but this interim goal would also requires a commitment from you.
Sure. Oh, okay.
An April commitment, but it's a commitment that I feel like is not that far-fetched. I mean, okay, listen, the ultimate interim commitment is that like literally in like 2 weeks time, we will be sitting in a movie theater watching Titanic together.
Right.
And that is not only what I'm working towards in the podcast right now, but that is like what my life is building towards. Like I cannot tell you, I wake up every morning and I'm like, okay, we haven't nailed down the plans yet. I don't have tickets yet. Who's coming and who isn't? How many tickets do I like? I am, and here's the thing. Here's the heartbreaking thing. The weekends, because it sounds like you and I are likely seeing it on a Sunday. We're going to aim for a matinee on a Sunday.
Right. Yeah.
Brienne is out of town.
Oof.
So I'm probably seeing it a second time, like a week later, if it's still in theaters. But I'm like, whatever. Like
I don't see. For me, from coming from you, that doesn't sound like the heartbreak.
No, that's it's heartbreaking that she's not. For the big.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. April 14th.
Are we watching Titanic again?
No. This is an important date, and I think it's an important film. This is every so often we pull back the curtain.
Because, sorry, just to pause you, what was the actual date of the sinking? Wasn't it April 14th?
It was. It was April 14th, 1912.
So what film are we watching on April 14th?
The only shipwreck of a film that we could possibly... April 14th is the release date of Renfield. Nicolas Cage as Count Dracula.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like this is a film. I feel like, listen, if you're in the quest of deciding whether or not Nicolas Cage is a good actor, this is the watch this and need no further investigation. This is the film that is going to answer all of those questions.
Man. Yeah.
We'll figure that out. But I'm proposing both on camera, on screen, on mic, and off mic that you and I watch and review Renfield, because not only like I sent you the trailer and you have to admit
it's intriguing.
It looks like a hell of a time.
It does. Yeah. It does.
And Nick Cage as Dracula. Like I don't know. To me. Anyways, hello and welcome. I already said that. I didn't say it with as much enthusiasm, but now I'm feeling in a place where I can be enthused enough. Let's do this.
That's all we can ask. Avatar 2. Here we go.
So, Paddington 2.
What?
Oh, is that not what we're... No.
Avatar. Too Fast, Too Avatar.
The 1993 or so it feels film Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
No, Avatar Way of Water. Okay, listen, this is a big one, and we don't always disclose this, but I feel like this time it's important to disclose it.
Sure.
We are going to talk the schism out of Avatar 2. So, if you have not seen it, don't listen. Or if you have not seen it and you don't care about spoilers, then listen. If you have seen it and you care about spoilers, or you don't care about spoilers, it doesn't really matter which one, listen. But either way, spoiler warning, we're about to talk about this movie in full detail, and what's to come in Avatar 3. I got some fun little things to share about that. I actually have a really interesting thing to share about Avatar 5. Which seems odd and unexpected, but it's something that gets me really excited for the franchise moving forward. So yeah, that's your warning. And that's not like a don't listen to this episode. That's like a hold off.
That's like bookmark it or, fold the ear page and
come on back when you're prepared.
Yeah. When you're done
if
your
it's
homework.
anything like Avatar 1, you've got the next year and a half to go see it in theaters. So that there's really no rush. It's not like, Yeah. So you saw Avatar 2. The Way of Water. I saw it. I rewatched. Okay. So question. I want to wait. You probably don't have trivia.
I don't. No.
Okay. I guess we should do initial impressions.
Sure. Yeah.
Initial impressions. And some of this initial impression is based upon the fact that, and this is a question I want you to answer in your initial impression. I, like, hours before going to see this movie, I rewatched the first one. I rememmined it. And I easily could have found, like, for the bits that I needed refreshing on, I easily could have found, like, a 10-minute YouTube video that just kind of gets me caught up. But I wanted to be emotionally in that world. Do you know what I mean?
I love the intensity, yes.
I wanted to be, like, in that... I wanted to get myself into Avatar mode. And the little nuances that perhaps a YouTube recap was not going to touch on, I wanted those to be fresh. Visually, this film is leaps and bounds ahead of the first one. Visually, I don't think the first film holds up. Avatar 2, in our current day and age, when I saw it in January of 2022, is a beautifully stunning film. And that doesn't surprise me because even the people who were planning on not, like, I think that's something we can all agree on. Because even the people who were not planning to go see it, even the Avatar, like, hey, Avatar is the stupidest thing in the world. They also said, I'm sure it's going to look amazing, but I don't want to see it. So even the haters can acknowledge, wow, what a thing to look at. Story-wise, interest-wise, entertainment-wise, I believe that Avatar Way of Water, hot take, this may be a hot take, or it may just be the general consensus, it's too soon to tell. I think it's leaps and bounds above the first one. I have been on and off about Avatar 1 for years. Thought I hated it. Rewatched it maybe about a year ago or whenever that was. Realized, you know what? I don't hate it. But I do think it's incredibly overhyped. I think that Avatar 2 is a film that I have no question about. I do enjoy it. I like Avatar 2. I do. Does it deserve some of the positions in the box office records that we're going to end up talking about? Maybe not on its own merits, but I do understand that, like you have to understand that so much of that is fueled by Avatar 1, is fueled by the overhype that lives and exists around the first one. But yeah, Avatar 2, initial impression. I like this movie. I really like this movie, and it got me, where the first one ended, and I'm like, okay, like I understand he's making more. I don't need more, not only because I'm lukewarm to the movie, but also because I just don't think the movie beckons for, like, I don't think the story beckons for more. And now I'm like, okay, all right, it's where are we going? What are we going to do next? Sign me up. This is a hell of a world. It's a hell of a world. and I enjoyed it for reasons. The last thing I'll say is I enjoyed it for reasons that I expected would be reasons that I would not enjoy it. So I was shocked and surprised.
Interesting.
Your turn.
Okay. I'll give my impression. Sorry, was there a question that I had to answer?
How recent was your...
How recent? Okay, yeah.
Your rewatch?
Yeah. I think I'll just step through it that I saw it in theaters, obviously, like many people did in 2009. Then I watched it in a home viewing probably 5 years after that. So
the first one.
The first one.
So sorry. I never saw the first one in theaters. That's also worth mentioning.
That is very, very, very,
I don't think I did. I may have, but if I did, it was at like the 5-month mark. Like either way, I was late to the Avatar train.
Sure. Yeah, I saw the first in theaters 5 years or so after I saw it at home. And then I saw it most recently. I think we reviewed it a year or two ago by now. But probably a year or two ago.
See, this is part of my memory with the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like how did we do this?
We either did or we just talked about it.
I ask you all the time. Like I literally, we had a meeting before we started the show. And I was like, did we do this movie at some point? And you're like, no, I don't think we did. And that's the curse of 260 plus episodes is that, over the span of 5 calendar years, may I add. Good golly, it's time to retire. Okay.
But yeah, so I've seen it 3 times. I did not watch it more recently to lead up to Avatar 2. And,
Episode 92.
I just was looking. Episode 92.
September 20th, 2020.
There you
so
go.
in the heat, so I mean that goes to show when we were stuck at home and we're literally not allowed to go do anything else, we're like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah. So yeah, the first Avatar I was blown away with visually. I remember just like doing a pulse check, not literally, but just metaphorically going, wow, what an incredible movie going experience. Like mid scenes, I'd be like, just blown away. Like, what are we seeing? This is incredible. Some of the nighttime visuals when Jake is stuck in the jungle in the first film, and you see like eyes and creatures in the dark, and just some of the things are just so breathtakingly incredible. And I was blown away with the visuals of number 2, and I agree that they're far superior, but I didn't have the shock value of number 1. I think just because of the climate of, what was 2009 Avatar rubbing shoulders with, visually, just as an industry, we've come a long way. So, I think just also expectations are kind of a little bit more higher than they were for number 1. Number 1, we just walked in and were blown away. Number 2, we knew, okay, James Cameron, you're not sneaking up on us here. We know what you've been doing. We know what you have up your sleeve. So visually, I wasn't as surprised, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. The visuals are obviously better for number 2, but I was less surprised. And I think my impression here of saying that is it was a visually interesting film that I watched, and visually, you're right, it is better than number 1. It was less dramatically surprising than number 1 for the reasons I outlined. I think I'm done with this universe, man. I am one of those people. If I had James Cameron on my phone, which I don't, but if I did, I'd probably send him a text and say, if you want to know what I want you to make, I want you to spend your time and effort making stories.
Titanic 2.
Well, that, but specifically, I want There is a Titanic 2, and I've seen it. And my gosh, it's awful. It is not by James Cameron.
But I'm pretty sure Titanic 2 came out before Titanic 1, right?
It's very possible.
Like Titanic 2, I think, is a sequel to A Night to Remember, which is like a 1950s film.
It's hard to. I don't remember. I remember it being. I think it's from the 90s. Titanic 2.
Oh, 2010.
I don't remember, though.
2010 is Titanic
Oh my
2.
lord! Never mind.
And it stars no one you've ever heard of. Okay. Directed by some algorithm of a computer. Yeah. Okay. Holy shit! I'm like looking at images right now, and I'm like. I don't know. I'm looking at screenshots and I'm like, this is a really impressive looking video game. Oh, wait, that's a film. Huh.
It was so bad. Like, it was one of those movies that you question why you watched it, that's for sure. But if I could text James Cameron, I would say make a better Titanic 2. But I would say spend your time and effort making a storyline in our Earth, in our ocean. I'm just not invested in this universe anymore. The stakes just aren't there for me. Spend time. What if I could bend this here? I would say spend time instead of making this like a metaphor or an allegory for colonization or groups that have been marginalized or detrimented by colonization or what have you. Actually, don't make this a metaphor. Like, make and tell me a story, whether it's historical fiction or partly fiction, or you decide, of some indigenous group or nation in the 1700s in the prairies. And, actually pick something like that in that timeline and just visually blow me away with the realism of the costume designs blow me away the same way with visuals of just like mountain landscapes and oceans and rivers and of our Earth, and just, do the planet Earth experience for me in your visuals of storytelling. And I think just for me, I just find a lot of these storylines and characters a bit hollow for me. And I think that's the gap there for me. I think I've never really bought into this whole storyline that we're going down. And I think this second movie was no different for me. And visually incredible, but the story, I think I've just met my quota a little bit. And and this is no surprise to me that there's a fifth one, like there's a few coming out. But when you're talking about, I've got some news about number 5, I'm like, really? Like, where else are we going here? Like, what else is there to tell?
This is amazing. Visually? This is an amazing take because, because I'm always interested when we have polar opposites.
Sure.
And B, this film did the impossible of converting me to an Avatar franchise fan.
Wow. Yeah, and I get it. All those things that I said, I don't take away the fact that visually it's breathtaking. I think just if I want my cake and eating it too, I want a story that's just as captivating. And I think for me, that's just not this universe that he's trying to tell me. But
okay.
Visually, I have no complaints visually, and what an entertaining ride.
So, I mean, I feel I was going to hold off on this, but I feel like now is the time to talk about my Avatar 5 news. So,
okay,
Avatar 3, we know takes place, like, that the progression that this franchise is going to take is dealing with, like, Jake and Neytiri belong to the forest Na'vi.
Right. Yep.
And who we go and meet in this movie is the water Na'vi, the ocean, the sea Na'vi.
Yep.
Number 3 is going to deal with the fire Na'vi.
Huh.
That we're going to kind of move through like an elemental progression.
Sure.
What we know about 5 is that 5 is going to take place at least some part, but it sounds like largely on Earth.
Oh.
And that intrigues me something fierce. And my speculation, and the speculation of a couple other people out on the internet, and I'm gapping her name and I'm trying to Google it here, and it's not giving me the results I want. Who is the Na'vi that is like in the healing tank throughout this whole film?
Oh, and that's the famous person from Alien, right? What's her name?
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, isn't that her? I'm pretty sure.
Okay, hang on. That's an interesting question because then that would make it the mother of. I didn't pick up on that. Hang on.
I could be wrong.
So
but I'm almost
wait. So now I need to figure this out because she plays Kiri in this one. She plays effectively the daughter, right?
Yeah.
Like Sigourney Weaver's in this one,
right?
In the first one, she plays Dr. Grace Augustine.
Right. Yeah.
But I thought it was a name like Aya or something. Is Grace Augustine in Avatar 2? Grace Augustine, her character died near the climax of that movie. It's an interesting development when Weaver was confirmed to be... Right. Yeah. No, there's someone in that tank, but it kind of seemed like it because it's the daughter, that kid is like straddling that tank at some point, looking at that tank like it's like
of some significance.
Oh, wait. No, Ewa is the... I don't know who's in that tank. and my theory hinges on understanding who is in that tank. So yeah, so Grace Augustine's daughter is Kiri.
Right.
Who's she's sort of been adopted into Jake and Natiri's family. But she's voiced by, it's very clear that's Sigourney Weaver. So I don't understand who is in that tank. Because it's important to my theory. And so I can't let it go. I can't just be like, oh, wow, it doesn't matter.
While you're digging that up, the one thing I'll say is I'm intrigued that this
I found
aspect... Okay, I'll just say it. I'm intrigued that there's this concept of we're returning to Earth in the fifth film, and I'm intrigued by that. But I also am a little skeptical that we'll be seeing Earth in the way that I want to, because, again, I understand Cameron's perspective here of wanting to show areas, we've seen forests, we've seen oceans, and then we've seen the destruction of them by these foreign groups coming and laying havoc to them. And so, the first half of the film is usually we see things in splendor, and then we see things burnt to crap. And I arguably would just rather like to see that, like I said, in the 1700s of a beautiful landscape, beautiful things, and then, having a railroad coming through and ruining things. And, I think I would be more interested in that picture. But as it relates to number 5, I doubt we're going to see Earth in breathtaking IMAX of a spectacle that I would want to see it in. I think I'm just basing it off a storyline. If the humans in this story are coming and laying waste to oceans and laying waste to forests and trees and whatnot, I feel like when we go back to Earth in number 5, I feel like it's going to be like a barren wasteland of just smog and burnt fires and just awfulness that I'm intrigued, but I don't know if it's the Earth I'll be wanting to see in IMAX.
So so I was reading here. So it is Grace's avatar that's in because Grace is dead.
Okay.
Right. Grace's Grace's avatar, which has been rendered brain dead, gave birth to a girl named Kiri. However, the father, if any, remains unknown. Grace's avatar has since been incubated at the laboratory for over a decade. Because it's been 10 years.
It is,
in stories since the first one. I think so. Here's my theory: is that this avatar, Grace's avatar, because at the end of the first one, Grace's avatar is like connected with, imbued with all of the powers of their deity, of Iwa.
Okay.
So I think that Grace's avatar, Grace's body, although brain dead and sitting in an incubator, has some sort of celestial, supernatural deity properties to it, and is going to play a role in the rehabilitation and salvaging of Earth.
Interesting.
Like, I think he's setting up, because obviously he knows what the story is, right? James Cameron doesn't go home at night wondering, what are we going to do for Avatar 5? Like, this has been well thought out.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's sort of my theory. Speaking of Grace's avatar, I have a very interesting observation, and it's going to sound like a weird observation, but it's something I kind of want to unpack because I'm curious about the behind the scenes of this. So one of the things about the Avatar films is that the Na'vi, being a tribal race of the planet Pandora, of the moon Pandora, are fairly scantily clad. They're wearing like loincloths and well-placed flowers to cover, female nipples. Rewatching the first one, I was very shocked to find that there are a lot, specifically with Neytiri, there are a lot of nipple slips. There are a lot of times where either she's bent over so the flowers around her neck are hanging down, or she's in whatever attack pose or whatever. Like, literally, probably 20 times, you can see at least one of, if not both, of Neytiri's nipples. And this is not, that's not like an accident, goof, whatever. These are CGI characters. Nothing happens by accident. They had to, like, animate in her nipples.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, so they're like, because it's a PG-13 film, so they're not being overt about her nipples, but they're not being strict about not showing them either. They're just kind of being like, like discreetly, like this thing around her neck has to have reasonable, realistic physics. And so if she's going to be in any position other than standing upright and completely still, from time to time, these little flowers and leaves are going to sway from side to side and you're going to see something. In Avatar 2, I was really shocked. And so it was something that I was kind of like watching for in Avatar 2. It'd be like, okay, what are the physics of the clothing that they've animated? And in Avatar 2, in The Way of Water, in the scene very early on, like in the first 15, 20 minutes of the film, when we first see Grace's avatar, and we're introduced to Kiri, and who's the boy? Loak?
Yeah.
Or am I getting the wrong boy there? Spider?
Yeah, Loak. Well, Spider's the human, I believe.
The human's who I'm thinking of. We're
Spider,
first also introduced to him. And we see Grace's avatar in the tank. We get a full-on, like, it quickly becomes blurry in the background, but we full-on see Grace's avatar topless, right? Floating in the tank. You see her nipples. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is like, we're being much more overt about this. Not once through the rest of the film, those like natural, normal nipple slips that happen in the first one never happen in this one. The leaves, the flowers, the whatever they are always at the perfect angle to cover everything. And I'm curious from a filmmaking behind the scenes standpoint, how and why this is. So one of the differences that I can sort of figure is that when the first one was, like, the first film was made under 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
The second film is made by 20th Century Studios, which is the new name for the studio after it was acquired by Disney. So technically, this is a Disney film. Which would explain why there's no nipple slips, except for the completely overt display of them in the tank at the beginning of this film. And so it's something like, obviously there's no interviews out there. I mean, I haven't gone looking for them, but I would assume there's no interviews out there where this is talked about. But from a filmmaking, again, from a standpoint of a film where nothing happens by accident, it's digital. If you're not drawing it in, it's not there.
Yeah, nothing happens by mistake.
Nothing's like, oh, we didn't catch that her nipple's visible at one point. Like, that's just not how it works. I'm very fascinated by why the second one seems to have this level of censorship that the first one didn't, except for this one moment where they go much more, like, they go a lot further with it. Like, it's not just like a look closely for it and you'll see it. It's like there's a naked Na'vi in this tank. Like, so I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts or opinions or theories on this, but like, it's something that I walked out of the theater very interested from like a behind the scenes standpoint of like, this is a conscious decision.
What changed?
What put you in a position where you were no longer willing to show, like, because at times, like, that's the one thing. At times, it's like kind of unbelievable that these tiny little nipple-sized leaves are always in the perfect position to be covering everything. Right. And in the first one, I think they realized that. Like, at times, we'll cover it most of the time, so she's not just walking around topless. But at times, it's gonna, like, you're gonna see something. Whereas in this time, they made a very conscious decision to never have a nipple slip, except for essentially a topless scene at the beginning. I'm so fascinated by this.
It's definitely interesting.
Do you like, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm surprised by, and again, I think it goes back to not watching number one recently, that I didn't even, like, it didn't even register with me with number one. And then in this one, like you said, it really didn't show a whole lot of stuff. So I think I kind of went over my head. And when you break down any type of filmmaking about, the challenges you deal with if you're dealing with people wearing costumes on a set, versus the conscious decision of, okay, guys, this is our process of what we're going to be doing when we depict these scenes in this costume. Like, a decision was made, and it's interesting how kind of they flipped completely 180 of going from one direction in number one to now where they did in number two. Right. And it's something that went over my head that I didn't really notice, or didn't even really notice at all in either viewings, but I haven't watched the two movies close enough side to side.
Right. No, for sure. But yeah, it's, to me, it, like, I don't know. It's a question that ultimately is unimportant, but it's a question that I feel like I need answered, because it does. There's like implications to it. Like, what was this a James Cameron decision? Was this a studio decision? It doesn't seem like James Cameron is the type of person who listens to studio decisions. Like, James Cameron's probably kind of the F you. I'm going to make the movie I'm going to make. So, I don't care what your opinion is. But I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be curious to know the why.
Yeah. So talk to me about Avatar, man.
One thing I'll say is kind of piggybacking on what you said in the visuals, and the number two were better. I think something that did work for me, and before I later on or now talk about things that didn't work, something that worked for me is I do feel it was a bit more of a fun ride visually than number one. In that, Well, number one was breathtaking, like I said, for all the different reasons. The landscape of movies at the time, and the technology of the time compared to now. So yes, it was better now than it was then, but it was more breathtaking at the time. Something with number one that I kind of was brought to my attention was, yes, you have these amazing visual sequences, and then you have other sequences where Jake is in his bunker doing human stuff. And so it's just humans on screen looking under microscopes, or, like doing stuff in the lab where they're just, doing human stuff and having human conversations. Something I feel like in number two is visually, in a good perspective, it doesn't hit the brakes at any point. It doesn't lean off the gas. Like, it's just from beginning to end. Every sequence is almost equally as visually stunning and challenging to me, the viewer, and to you, the viewer. You know what I mean? So, like, number one, yes, amazing milestones and amazing moments. But then, visually, it would kind of plateau for a bit when you're having a scene with Jake making a peanut butter sandwich in the bunker and Sigourney Weaver saying, "Hey, I'm Sigourney Weaver." And then you jump back to, they're straddling monsters in the sky and doing crazy things. And then you go back. Number two, there's no lulls. Like, it just from the beginning to the middle to the end, it's all guns ablaze and deep water, whale, ocean sequences, flying in the sky sequences, action battle sequences. From that, I have to commend the movie just visually, just as a ride, as an entertaining 3.5 hours. I feel like that, aside from the technology that was better in number two, just the volume and how much it came at you visually was just more entertaining in number two from that regard.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's nonstop, and we get introduced to these like water beasts and
Mm-hmm.
The thing that it's interesting because although Jake and Neytiri are still, like, we see them with a completely different dynamic as parents now, and this was the aspect of the film that I hypothesized would not work for me.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to see the kids. I didn't want to. I was worried that too much of the focus would be taken away from Jake and Neytiri, and that it would be put on the kids.
Sure.
And the emphasis certainly is, I feel like, taken off of Jake and Neytiri and put on the kids. But it worked. Like, I just really loved the dynamic, the family.
Sure.
The older brother, the younger brother, the older brother who's supposed to watch out for the younger brother who's a little bit of a recluse, the older brother who is also a little bit of a recluse and doesn't really do a good job of looking after the younger brother. No. And then the adopted sister who is clearly different than that, right, in personality, and in, like, she's clearly from a different family. But is still a part of that family, is still loved like she's one of theirs. I think for me, like, the thing, I just mentioned the water monsters, the thing that made this film really work, and I think the thing that's going to keep it fresh and keep it working moving forward, was this massive change of scenery. Was the discovery for the viewer of this different type of Na'vi. That it wasn't just, okay, we're in the woods and there's Home Tree, which is now destroyed, and there's the tree of whatever, like the Iwa's tree with the glowing things and, whatever else. Like, that it wasn't just trying to come up with an interesting follow-up story in the same setting with the same characters.
Right. It wasn't.
It blew, like, this film blew the world of Avatar wide open, made it much more expansive. And it sounds like that's just going to continue to be the plan moving forward, right? And they kind of set that up at the end of this one, right? Where Jake says, like, we got to move on. We're going to go somewhere else. We appreciate being inducted as one of you, But it's time that we go.
Hit the dusty trail.
Yeah. I thought it was smart that we had the same antagonist in a way, but now in a Na'vi body. Like that was...
Yeah.
But also not the same, and that Spider is the son of him, but not really, because this is just an avatar with the general's memories and personality. So it's not really. So this general doesn't really give two shits about the kid. And there's one point where they like try to hold the kid hostage as leverage, and
oh my gosh,
and he's like, "It's not my kid. I don't care. Kill him. I don't care. I have these memories. I have these whatever, but he's not actually my kid."
Two things I want to hit on right here. One is a pro, and I guess the other is definitely a con. But that is one good point that you bring up. You know, as much as I say I'm done with this universe, and I'm not as excited as some viewers are, James Cameron is strategic about what he's doing, and you know, he's a storyteller first and foremost, and he has also, in a good way, like I'm not saying a charged way, but like he has a political agenda of, you know, just, you know, the earth and degradation of it, and kind of, you know, having viewers watch a movie about the earth and it being kind of misused and abused, and how we can learn from that, and how we can learn from that in our world. You know, like there's these good things that he's doing. So he's a storyteller, he's a activist, and he's also just an entertainer. I guess maybe that ties in with storytelling too. But I do find that entertaining that he's strategic about this, is the impression I'm picking up. You know, you're right. He's not just saying, hey, we're back at the ranch for every single episode. It's not a sitcom where everyone's in the same building. You know, it's not like Friends where all the storytelling takes place in one room. We had the forest in the first one. We've got the oceans in the second one. And, you know, it sounds like you said fire's coming up. Other areas and places on this planet, on this moon, you know, I guess just from someone who isn't as ecstatic about this universe, about what this story has to say, visually, it's giving me a reason to come back. And, you know, I don't doubt that for 1 second. You know, as much as I may or may not have liked number 2, visually, it was still a fun time. And I doubt that'll be any different for number 3, 4, or 5, just because James Cameron, you know, he's strategic about what he's going to do, but the underlying story that he's trying to tell, and visually how he's going to do it. So, you know, I guess I have to give kudos to that aspect. Right. You know, as much as I dread the fact that there's 5, when you break it down and be like, yeah, but each one brings something different, even if you're not into it as much as others are. So that's definitely a pro. But a con, again, something that you brought up a specific example. So that moment where this human child, or whatever you'd call it, is held at knife point. Something that I just think I think it serves as a microcosm for me of why there's just no stakes for a lot of what's told in this. You know, the character and the storylines at times are just hollow, because when you've got Neytiri literally holding this boy with a knife to his throat, whether it's truly, you know, whether it was a bluff or not, or whether it was real or not, in the heat of the moment, I'm sure if I was having a knife held up my neck, I'd be like, you know, WTF, what's going on here? And I feel like just that occurrence happens, and then the movie goes on, and then the movie ends. Like, maybe this will happen in number 3, so maybe I'm jumping the ship a bit, but there's a lot of hollow dialogue. There's a lot of occurrences I would have cut out of this number 2 movie to give us a bit of payoff from that scene, saying, you know, what does it mean for their relationship with each other? What does it mean for the implications of this boy going forward? Like, is he going to, even though he has no real reason to save him from the water, he does, is he going to go back to that well one more time and, you know, give information that hurts Jacob or Neytiri or the Avatar? You know, I'm just curious about the implications of that split-second moment where someone could feel betrayed, and someone could feel hurt, and someone could feel, hey, I know I look different, but you've always loved me as a family member, but then in this heat of the moment, you just totally used me as a pawn. So I think there was just that using that as an example of like, okay, visually, let's match the intensity of the story with the story here and just have something with stakes and implications and crossing a line. And, you know, again, maybe I'm being premature that there are 5 movies, so maybe it's too soon to jump the ship here. But we also said the same critique about Dune 1, where we said, you know, maybe it'll pay off in future films, but as a standalone, you know, you need to impress me from a movie perspective right here, right now. You know, I can't wait 10 years to be brought back about, okay, story-wise, this is where you came through and eventually paid off. Like right here, right now, it seems a bit hollow.
Right. But I wonder, like, is that the case? Because, I mean, like you talk about, you know, you've always loved me as a child. And I think that this is setting up future growth for Neytiri. Because there, you know, I don't know that she's always loved him as a child, right? Like there is a dialogue that happens earlier on in this film when the kids are playing, the Na'vi children are playing with Spider, and Neytiri makes a comment about how they should be playing with other Na'vi. That, like, she doesn't like that he's human. And Jake is a defender, right? Jake's like, no, like, you know, like it's fine or whatever. I think he maybe mentioned something about how he was at one point, and the kids are half human like there's human DNA there, because their hands are different. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know that she was always as loving towards Spider. Like, part of me wants to think that in that scene, it was like she was never going to do it. She was never going to kill the kid. It was
probably
trying to influence and get the upper hand with Quattridge.
Get some leverage going. Yeah.
Yeah. But then part of me is also like, I don't know, she has tribal instincts, right? And so that maybe plays a factor. And it's her family and her children that are being threatened. And so, you know, if push came to shove, would she sacrifice another child in order to save her own family? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I never got the impression that she was as affectionate or as committed to the survival or happiness of Spider as the rest were.
And you might be right. And then to that, I would say, then, you know what, James Cameron, we need to show and explore this a bit more. Like, maybe her and Jake sit down after, and Jake's like, yo, what was going on there? Like, yeah, I know emotions were heightened, but we need to love this guy, you know, or some, maybe it goes between Spider and Neytiri saying, you know, we cool, or, you know, I think just I would have liked that explored a bit more. And you're right. I think you're underlying some things that Neytiri, maybe there is some differences as far as how she values that relationship, but as a film, to just not even address it afterwards kind of reduces some of the stakes. And you could be right, like it could have just been a total bluff, and I think it probably was. But regardless, still, I guess I'm just putting myself in that situation. If at the next Movie Men bingo night with you, me, and Carl, if one of you puts a knife to me, I'm wanting to have a discussion about it afterwards.
Right.
Call me old fashioned though.
Yeah. No, I get it.
No.
One of the things I was going to mention is the fact that there was there were a big time jump, or there was not a time jump. There was a difference in why part of Avatar 3 was shot when it was.
Okay.
Which was, if I pull it up here, some of it happened alongside the filming of Avatar 2. And that filming took place in 2017.
Oh, wow.
And they shot some scenes for Avatar 3, specifically, like, I'm sure they did like some motion capture stuff back then too. But specifically some live action stuff, because I guess in Avatar 3, there's going to be a time jump.
Oh.
And they needed some scenes, I think specifically for characters like Spider, characters who are going to show noticeable aging.
Smart.
Right? Like if you're 40, then, you know, you can, a little bit of makeup and a little bit of whatever, you can seem like you're 5 years younger.
Right.
But for a teenager or a child actor, that's much more difficult. And so they shot the scenes that they needed in order, they shot the scenes that they needed where Spider needed to be the same age.
Right.
Or relatively similar back then, so that when it came time to do the live action principal photography for Avatar 3, then the age jump was appropriate.
It's neat, just because I think I'm just thinking to specific shows and sequels that I've seen where that has been a problem. And you do have to have some foresight when you're having 5 sequels, just of where, like you said, James Cameron knows exactly what he's doing and where he's going. But just having that ability to have the foresight, and I guess it comes with being so successful. Like, there's no doubt that he's going to get, you know, a renewal to do 3, 4, and 5. It's not like other series where, you know, you might have to go film by film depending on how they're going. So just some unique opportunities that are afforded to him because of who he is and what he's done. But it's just it's a cool opportunity to plan ahead and be like, okay, I need to film this stuff before people age, so then it looks realistic for transitions. And I'm just thinking specifically back to Lost. There were some characters that literally had to be written out of the show just because of children aging, and, you know, in the span of the show's supposed to take place over a month, and they'd be like, wow, you look 10 years older. Like, what happens, Joe?
Yeah, exactly.
So that is cool. That is cool.
If that feels like a good moment to talk about why there's no doubt, why trust is put in James Cameron.
I know where this is going.
So at the time of recording, Avatar: The Way of Water has grossed $2,176,229,105. $2.1 billion.
2.1 bill.
Approaching 2.2 billion.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's creeping close to Titanic, isn't it?
It is. So the first Avatar has so this has 2.17 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Titanic is 2.19 billion. It's like $16 million away from overthrowing Titanic and taking the number 3 slot. Now, listen. The last kind of 3 big ones that we've watched, the ones that were like really interesting. So only 6 films. All right, hang on. Let me rewind here.
Sure.
Only 6 films in history have made $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Avatar or Avengers: Infinity War in the number 6 slot.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens in number 5. Avatar: The Way of Water in number 4 currently. Yep. Titanic in number 3. Avengers: Endgame in number 2. And Avatar: The First One in number 1.
Yeah.
Due to some re-releases and stuff like that, but still.
Yeah.
6 films in the history of the world have made $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them are James Cameron films.
Just let that sink in.
Just let that sink in. Of the top 3 films of all time, 2 of them, 2/3 of the highest grossing films of all time, 66% of the highest 3 grossing films of all time are James Cameron films. Avatar.
You could just pump those numbers a bit more. 75% of the top 4 are James Cameron.
Yeah.
Like just
75% of the top 4. James Cameron films. Avatar recently hit its 6th consecutive week at the box office, being number 1. The last time a film did that was 14 years ago with Avatar. The last time it happened before that was Titanic. In the last 25 years, the only 3 films to have 6 consecutive weeks at number 1 in the box office are all James Cameron films. Now, here's the thing. Like, at this point, will Avatar: The Way of Water pass Titanic? I'm guessing so. It seems likely to me that will happen. Mm-hmm. Does that matter? Like, passing The Force Awakens, that was kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. Passing Titanic, they're both James Cameron films, so that doesn't make a big difference to James Cameron. It's sort of kind of neither here nor there as far as like the records hold. Avengers Endgame. So right now, Avatar: The Way of Water is $2.17 billion. Mm-hmm. Avengers Endgame is 2.79. I'm going to call it right here. It's not going to pass that. It doesn't have a chance to pass Avengers Endgame. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. So let's say it does pass Titanic, or let's say it doesn't. Either way, it doesn't change that the top 4, 3 of them are James Cameron films. Mm-hmm. The only film that has the privilege to stand among James Cameron films in the top 4 films of all time is a film that took 15 years, 20 A-list actors, and 25 plus films to get it there.
Yeah.
It's astounding. It is. And what furthermore is like, it's bizarre to me. I was saying to Brianne the other day, James Cameron is not a name that most people would bring up when talking about the greats of filmmaking.
I don't
when
think
you're talking
so.
about your Steven Spielbergs and your Martin Scorseses and your Alfred Hitchcocks and your Quentin Tarantinos and your Clint Eastwoods and whoever else.
Yeah.
You don't think James Cameron.
He doesn't get brought up a lot.
No.
Like in that context of, the upper echelon.
But it's like,
why
maybe
not?
he needs to. And I mean, listen, money made does not equal quality of film. It doesn't.
Sure.
There's lots of factors that come into it. And it's just not, that's not how it works. But it's got to be considered.
It doesn't hurt.
No. And you have to look at it and go, James Cameron has done something. Like, here's the thing. And I feel confident saying this. There has never, that's objective, and subjectively, but I would argue almost objectively, there will never, as far as what record-setting box office holding the top 3 of the top 4, there will never be another James Cameron. Like, he has made cinema history forever.
Yep.
And it's astounding. So yeah, when James Cameron comes to you and says, I have a great idea for a film about a stool, about a bar stool that goes on an adventure. Who's saying no to James Cameron?
So there's a lot to break down there. I think the first is no one is saying no. I think it's interesting because my hot take is, as far as a legacy sequel, I still prefer Top Gun 2 to Avatar 2. And what I said with Top Gun Maverick, I never said it would make top 10, but I said it has a chance. And it never quite did. It came close.
No, it's at number 12.
At its height, it was 11th. So it came close. And the reason I bring that up is, although I think it's better than Avatar 2 in my personal opinion, it'd be interesting to see how Way of Water goes, because Avatar did amazingly well at its time, but upon it's really lived on the re-releases as well, right? And so obviously between 2 and 3, there's not going to be a 14-year gap. So, Avatar: The Way of Water might not really cash in as much on the re-releases. as number one did, just because of such a long period of time and how groundbreaking number one was. But I'd just be interested to see if it does crack that 2 spot. I don't think it's going to break Avatar 1 by any stretch, but I'd be curious to see. I'm not a betting man. I'm not going to say it is going to bump Avengers Endgame, but it'll be fun to watch. And I think there's a chance. It's not a good chance, but there's a chance.
So you bring up an interesting point, which is that, right now what we're tracking is that Avatar: The Way of Water is 16 million away from overthrowing Titanic, which is also about to see a re-release.
Right. So actually, it's a moving target.
It's a moving target. And it's amazing that we're going to live in a time and an age where you could literally go see a double feature of 4K 3D IMAX James Cameron films.
Well, when you say, hey, I'm going to go see a 4K James Cameron, Kate Winslet film, and your friend goes, but which one?
Yeah, exactly. Which one? No, it's nuts.
And I was going to say something. If I could text James Cameron, and I kind of want to. So if anyone has his number and wants to pass it my way, it doesn't matter. He's not going to listen to me. But if I could put a bug in his ear, and instead of him saying, I've got a bar stool that I want to make a movie about called Barstool Bob, what I'd say is, instead of making a movie about Barstool Bob, or instead of making another Avatar movie, spend 10 years or 5 or whatever doing visually, bringing what you bring to the screen, but of like an underwater exploration of Titanic. That would be, I know it's completely different, like the motion capture, like I realize apples and oranges technology but I'm just saying, bring something visually as breathtaking and reality based of the ruins of Titanic, and bring that to IMAX, and man, talk about take my money.
Yeah. Another interesting statistic that's brought up in all of this is Zoe Saldana, who plays Neytiri, has currently, and this is not factoring in, like who knows what's going to happen with Avatar 3, right? But Zoe Saldana is in 3 of the 6 highest grossing films of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Because she plays Neytiri, but she also plays Gamora.
Right.
So she's in Avatar. She's in Avengers Endgame. She's in Avatar: The Way of Water. And she's in Avengers Infinity War.
So yeah, 4 of the 6.
4 of the 6. That's also like a really impressive statistic. Yeah. And that's like, I don't know what that means, if anything.
It doesn't.
I don't know that really like increases her Hollywood draw, because I don't think it does.
She's a capable actor, but also it's just the way it's worked out that she's signed on to lucrative projects for sure.
Kate Winslet's in 2 of the top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Craziness.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of this film.
Sure.
I was blown away visually. I was captivated narratively. And it's put me in a position where I am looking forward to, not just like interested in reviewing and understand the weight of reviewing Avatar 3, but as a fan, I'm anticipating seeing the next one, and have been enchanted a little bit by the world, have been enchanted by the story that he's telling, and this film allowed me to find deeper meaning in the allegory that's being told, and in the race of the Na'vi, and in, like, I don't know, something that was just that I knew was there and was supposed to be there in the first one, but just was personally unable to tap into. I have tapped into now, and I'm there and ready to keep going.
That's fun. That's fun. I'm not there for the same, obviously in the same degree of excitement, but I will watch number 3 and visually look forward to what it brings.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have anything else? Like what other notes?
I think that about wraps it up. Like the other problem that I was going to bring up was just another example of just the stakes not being there for me. And it was just simply, this whole horrific concept of these humans hunting these whales for this incredibly lucrative anti-aging fluid. And just, I don't know, just felt like a weird plot device and a weird... the fluid itself felt like a weird plot device. And then again, I just felt like this whole hunting of the whales had its emotional moments and its horrific moments, but just as it related to this whole purpose of hunting and scavenging this material, I just also feel like it didn't really have the consequences in some regard that I think it was supposed to. And again, I don't know if that's just, again, me wanting to see something real worldly, like in our Earth, or if it's just in my mind, kind of like the whole knife to the throat thing. I think I just made, in this whale fluid circumstance, it just didn't have the right storytelling narrative to kind of build up and let it breathe and have the stakes that it was supposed to, instead of just being something that happened on screen that really didn't shake me as much as it should have, or at least the concept should have.
Right.
And, but that was just another random example.
Yeah. Neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh yeah. That's about all I got.
Okay, sir. What would you give Avatar: The Way of Water? We've been waiting, feels like years for me to ask you this question.
Yeah.
What would you give Avatar: The Way of Water on a scale of 0 to 10?
Visually, if someone was asking visually, what would you give it out of 10? A 9. Really fun. I gave out all the options. I did the high, is it the HFR, the high frame resolution? And the Adobe Atmos and like everything, I didn't want, not that I could, but I didn't just watch this on an iPad at a bus station. I went to a really good theater, pulled out all the stops. Visually, it was a 9 out of 10. Sometimes I found the HFR a bit distracting. I'm not going to lie. That's one thing visually that kept visually from being a 10. Just especially some of the action sequences. It just felt like I was watching film that was being sped up. And something about it was distracting to me. Like someone would move and I went like, that almost looked too fast to be humanly possible. Like it's just something about it was a little bit trippy at times for me. But visually, 9 out of 10. But that's not how I rank a movie. I rank it on its entire weight, the story and the visuals and the characters. So overall, I gave Avatar 2 a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's definitely not in my good books. And it was right down the middle.
5 out of 10.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 10?
Wow. I gave it a 9.2.
That makes sense from what you're saying of how you're praising it, of how you're looking forward to it.
Wow. I was going to say, because you had asked me, you were like, what should I, like, of the available options, like of the different showings, which one should I go see?
Yeah.
And I recommended the high frame rate.
Sure.
Because I said, like, I don't know, that's how he shot it. So it seems like that's
how
what
you
he
should.
wants.
And that's how, like, and when you're saying all these things, it's, how he's making it is how he's intending it to be watched. So, watching it without any of these features, it's detracting from what the artist's purpose is.
Yeah. But what was interesting is I was talking to someone a couple of days ago, or maybe like a week or two ago, and they were like, they recommended against it. They said exactly what you said. They're like, it's distracting. Yep. And I thought to myself, should I message Pete and tell him this and deter him from... But ultimately I was like, well, no, because maybe that was just this one person's opinion.
Sure.
And also there's value in... Because what I saw it in was not the high frame rate, just because that wasn't a thing at my theater. Yep. I saw it in IMAX 3D, and so I was like, well, there's value in having two different experiences,
Yep.
So I sacrificed your experience for the sake of the podcast.
For the greater good.
Yeah. Cool. What did you watch this week, sir?
A couple things. The one, I watched a 1996 film starring Tom Cruise called Jerry Maguire. So a sports agent is morally changed when he has an epiphany and is fired as a result of it. And he decides to put his new philosophy to the test as an independent agent for one athlete in Cuba Gooding Jr. And Tom Cruise also enables or encourages one of his former employees to stay with him, who turns out to be a romantic interest. So I gave this, I guess it would be more classified as a dramatic romance movie, maybe a bit of comedy. I give it a 7 out of 10. You know, it's fun. It's 90s Tom Cruise. I'm on the Tom Cruise bandwagon ever since Top Gun 2. I'm trying to rewatch a lot of his works. And so it's got some iconic moments, you know, the show me the money. It's got some heartfelt moments of, you know, character, you know, having some ebbs and flows in a romantic relationship, and then having personal successes, and then realizing that they're hollow without the person that that means the most to him. So it's got what you want from like a 90s comedy, romance, feel good, you know, iconic film. It's not perfect. It's not Shakespeare. It's not the best Tom Cruise movie I've ever seen, but it's still a fun, iconic classic. And yeah, so that's one thing I watched. The other thing I watched was I wrapped up this TV series on Netflix called 1899. And it's got a bit of controversy around it in that if what I read was true, it's a one-season show that looked like it was leading up to at least another season, maybe multiple, and it got the axe. If what I read was true, it is no longer being continued, and people are upset about it. But essentially,
this is the Netflix way.
This is the Netflix way, and people were so upset. They were like commenting, like, "Yeah, they're gonna cancel this show, but still have like the newest season of whatever insert blank TV show." Like, there's so many now, but like where all these people are shirtless at a resort, flirting with each other and getting drunk and acting stupid, and it's just like there's a new one of those series every week on Netflix, but they're canceling something else, and people were upset about it. But what drew me to 1899 was, you know, this period piece at the turn of the century, and you've got this steamship crossing the Atlantic, maybe some ties to Titanic, maybe that's why I liked it, but I was really intrigued by the period, and it's this dramatic mystery where passengers with mixed backgrounds and hauntings in their own past look for a new future in the new country, and then an unexpected turn comes when they find a kind of a ghost ship, so to speak, of an abandoned kind of nature, and what they find on board of this ghost ship kind of turns their promising trip to the new world into a horrifying nightmare. And, you know, I was really intrigued by it. It looked like a bit of a psych thriller as well, and I was really disappointed by it, to be honest. I gave the whole series a 5 out of 10. You know, I'm going to give a spoiler here, so if someone is considering watching it, don't listen to the next 10 seconds. But instead of being a period piece on a ship at the turn of the century, which it was, it really also was fundamentally a sci-fi thriller. And so there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't it wasn't the beverage that I showed up to the bar wanting to drink. I was really looking forward to a period piece with costumes and set designs of, you know, 100 years ago, 120 years ago, and then infused with a mystery. And I was all for that. And then when it turned out to be kind of a sci-fi component to it, then I thought, okay, there's nothing wrong with this. This just isn't why I started watching the show. And it was kind of like a catch and release, or a bait and switch of coming for one thing and then staying for another. So I gave 1899 a 5 out of 10. I'm a little disappointed that there's not going to be a new season. To be honest, I likely wouldn't have watched it, but I would have been curious to read up on, you know, some story narrative summaries of determining what happened, just to see how some storylines were closed up and looped off. But I will, it looks like, never get that, and we'll just have to use my imagination. So 1899, I gave out a 5 out of 10. Not necessarily that it was bad, but it just wasn't what I was showing up for. What did you watch this week?
I can only think of two things.
Sure.
One is The Atom Project. I finally got around to watching The Atom Project.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. It wasn't like an amazing movie, but it's like a fun sort of popcorn-esque sci-fi action adventure type thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other that I watched is The Voices. Have you heard of it?
I haven't. I'm actually going to Google it right now.
It's also with Ryan Reynolds. And if we were back in the days of forcibly recommending a film to the other person, I would recommend it to you simply because I need to hear your thoughts.
Horror thriller. Interesting.
Really? That's what
it's, yeah. Rightfully or wrongfully.
The Voices. Are we looking at the same horror thriller?
A mentally unhinged factory worker must decide whether to listen to his talking cat and become a killer or follow his dog's advice to keep striving for normalcy.
Yeah. It's totally a comedy, though. Like, I'm surprised a comedy.
What a weird mislabel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, I get the horror thriller tagline, but also a comedy for sure.
Right.
But
interesting.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick, yeah.
Yeah, it's I kind of need to hear someone else. I need to hear their opinions.
And now, is that because you're not sure if it was good or bad, or it was just so interesting that you're kind of the ideas are bouncing off your head?
Both, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think both. Yeah. Yep. Anyways, that's what I watched. Cool. Wrap it up, sir.
Very cool. Well, yeah, thank you for listening, whether you're tuning in just because it's Avatar 2 or tuning in because you love us and you love tuning in each week or periodically. Thank you for joining us today. Check out our socials below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, follow, subscribe. Give us a good rate and review wherever you can. We do appreciate it. Check out our Patreon page. It's a way for you to support the show and a way for us to say thank you for supporting the show. We've got bonus content on there, so bonus audio episodes. We've just got a new one that came out a week to 10 days ago. We do the occasional video stream. We do the occasional input where Patreon supporters give us input for upcoming voting ideas. And then for the higher tiers, we also have bonus voting allocated rights where if your votes count for more. So check it out, and thank you to all our existing Patreon supporters. It really does help us pay the bills, and we will not be making the top 6 grossing of podcasts. We will not be the James Cameron of podcasts right now, anyway.
Not with that attitude.
we're approaching the 1 billion mark, but not 2.
Yeah, we'll get that. It's in the crosshairs.
It's coming. But thank you for joining us, and catch us next time, whether it's for our next movie review or for the next news segment.
Yeah, next time when we review the Dune 2.
Dune 2. Too fast, too Dune.